Hey guys, so if you want to be a really good tackler, there's 4 properties that we need to go over that will make you a safe tackler for yourself, but also a powerful tackler. We always want to be delivering the blow versus the offensive player running us over. We don't want to catch their energy, so we want to be able to deliver that. So the drill that we have in front of us is going to talk about those 4 basic properties. So number one thing is head up. We always want to make sure our head is up. We always want to try and fit that on the side. We don't want to be hitting players with our face or with our helmet. So it's going to be head up, fitting on the side. We want to have our shoulders be square across, okay? We don't want to be either tilted to the side, and we also don't want to be turned, all right? It's never really good for us to be turned hitting someone. That causes rotation in our back and in our spine, which is dangerous for us. And speaking of spine, the third property is going to be a straight back, okay? So we see that for our player right here, all right, which is Caleb, a player I work with. We want to see a straight back because that, if we have a rounded back, okay, so you might see some of your players here, or if you're a player, you might, if you watch yourself, you might see some round in that back. That's also very dangerous because anything, if it's like this, if there's any hit and blow to us in this direction, it could just cause a crunch of that spine, and that's just very dangerous. We don't want to have that. We want to keep everything nice and straight. Okay, so those are our first 3 properties. Our last one is going to be having a good base with our legs and being able to use that to add our power. So if we have a good base with our legs, this is where we can extend out and add some power in. So going over this drill, we're going to see 2 different plays. So I want to show you guys the first one, which we work on to get better. So this is an example of a bad rep. Okay, so right here, we're going to see Caleb kind of load up and strike and be standing at the top. So the issues with this right here, right, if you're a coach or a player, we always want to be ready to go. We don't want to have to reload. So for right here, okay, we see the arms move. We don't want to see this type of a reload, all right, because once Caleb goes and reloads here, it changes the angle for his back. So he's in a good position here. The second that he goes and reloads, now it drops that angle just a little bit, okay? It drops it down a little bit. That's not going to be as efficient for us, all right? And then his legs stand up. So some of that energy he just used was to roll him forward. Now it changes the angle of his back, so it's not going to be a great angle position for the hit. And then as he goes through to wrap up, we're almost leaving our feet. His explosion on contact is this angle right here. It's a pretty high angle for his leg. He's not able to drive through it, and he's hitting all the way at the top of the pad. So if we were to try and hit an offensive player all the way up at the pad, we're actually the low man right now because their shoulder is going into our chest. So we would be the person that's high. We're going to lose this battle every single time. So we want to train the players to stay low and to drive through. If we look at the video here on the other side, this is going to be a really good rep, okay? So Caleb does a really good job of staying low. We don't have to reload, all right? His initial explosion is coming from his legs and all the way through his back. So right here, we can draw a line from his heel, through his butt, through his back. Everything's working in one plane, in one motion, okay? Then look at some of our properties. We have our head up on the side. We have our chest square across. We have our back in a good straight angle. And then we still have power in our legs to finish that drive phase. That's the difference from here on contact. Okay, if we look at our contact, we're way too high, okay? Even though our head is up and our shoulders are square and our back is good, now out of our legs, we have a very high angle, so there's not much more for us to give in terms of power. And like I said, we're too high on that, so we're gonna be accepting that blow. The difference with this side, like I said, head up, shoulders, back is straight, but now with our legs, we have a lot more power that we can now use. If we draw that triangle, we can use all that power to extend through. And what you're gonna see is, if we watch the pads here, so watch the base of the sled right here, you're gonna see a major difference of when Caleb hits this one, the thing stands up, moves a little bit. When Caleb hits this with the same type of energy, okay, so he's gonna be standing here. As he goes and hits this, watch this right here. The whole sled turns and moves, and he was trying to do the same speed and tempo. It's simply because he uses all that power. So now as he hits and drives through, not only are we the lower man, but now he's extending with these legs, and he's exploding through this with great power. So when he does that, he's able to move the sled, but now he's going to be the low man. He's going to drive and finish off that running back. So if you're a coach or a player, regardless, this is a drill. You don't have to be hitting a sled. Even if you're just tackling a dummy, tackling anything, these are the properties that you want to show these kids and teach yourself so that you can maintain safe effective practices for yourself, but also be able to drive through that. And you'll see some of these things right off the bat. You'll notice them if you watch the players. So this is just an example of how you do it, all right? And you can take this same style tackle into any of your drills with a standing pad, with doing it against another player, with doing it on another dummy. So either way you can take it in practice, but just keep those main 4 properties: head up, shoulders square, back straight, and good still bend in the legs so that you have some power to finish it off with, and that's really going to help you out to be an effective tackler.